Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we start this episode off with a little bit of some breaking news here on the channel regarding what happened between myself and Joey Logano in the last episode. Basically what's happening is myself and Logano have been put on probation now for 3 races after our crash in Miami. Steve O'Donnell said if one of them wreck each other within the next 3 races, they're gone for a week. So if you see myself or Logano wreck each other at some point here in the next 3 races starting today at Texas Motor Speedway, then we will be suspended for one of these events here. Now hopefully that does not happen to myself or Joey, so if we run into each other a little bit, maybe put each other in the wall, it's not going to be too big of a deal. But if one of us just flat out wrecks each other, then you will sure enough see one of us suspended. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these next 3 races go, to say the least. And then maybe if you're new to this series and whatnot on my channel, the reason I can make stuff like this happen is because I can actually mod the game and whatnot. And that's why you also see all these driver roster changes and paint scheme changes. A lot of people ask me about how that happens, simply because I mod the game. But we come through now into the Vanker 350 here for the truck series at Texas Motor Speedway, where we had subscriber Charlie Pauly in the truck for us as he went down into turn 3. Texas usually a pretty good race for myself, for our team here in the truck series side of things. And right off the bat here in the opening lap, Charlie was working his way through the field very quickly. He started a little bit outside the top 10. He was already up in towards a top 5 position here as he went down into turn 1, and he would just continue moving his way forwards very quickly here as he was up the inside of the 98 there. And going into turn 3, he would also pass the Canadian Stuart Friesen, get up the inside of John Hunter Nemechek, and already Charlie Pauly is going to move through into the 2nd position, but he would not be able to really do anything here for the rest of the race until we came through now to the final lap of the race here in Texas. Now, as it was a 3-truck race here with Sauter, Pauly, and then Ross Chastain as he went down into turn 1 up the inside of the 13, but he gets cleared by the 13, leaving the door open for Chastain to go up the inside, as it would be side by side for the lead. Down the back straightaway here on the final lap is now Pauly is going to send it 3 wide into turn 3. Sauter now clears the 40, so it's side by side between Pauly and Sauter on the exit of turn 4. He pushes him all the way up the track, some contact with Sauter and Pauly, and he hits Chastain. Chastain goes spinning down the front straightaway into the outside wall, and Charlie Pauly comes through to win the race here in Texas after a dramatic finish, and that would be the 2nd win of the season, and I believe 2nd win in a row here for our Truck Series team. So a 2nd win pretty much guarantees that our team will be inside of the Truck Series playoff, but definitely got a little bit dramatic there at the end now. So Charlie comes out with the victory, Johnny Sauter in 2nd. Chastain still managed to finish in the 6th position, so he must have got his truck going right away. But there you see the rest of the finishing order with Clay Greenfield, Mike Harmon there at the bottom. But now we come through over into the Xfinity series side of things. I simmed this race again, and I think I need to stop simming because you see this right here. Joe Nemechek won the race over Christian Eckes, Sheldon Creed, Haley Deegan, and Ryan Sieg rounded out your top 5 with Derek Kraus there in the 6th position. Now, as you see, Kevin Magnussen down there in P16, myself in P17, Anthony Alfredo in P18. In real life, they just announced he will be going to Front Row Motorsports. We already have him there in the Cup Series on the career mode here, so nothing changes, of course, with that, as we would come through, though, now into the Cup Series weekend where we had the NZXT colors back on the car. Very excited to bring this paint scheme out to Texas now, as this will be the 2nd race of the season that we have run this beautiful scheme made by my good friend of Renato. Now, as we get underway for our qualifying lap, the goal was to hit a 29.289. Not really sure ever what to expect at Texas. Sometimes we have a pretty good run, sometimes we have a subpar run. Now, as we come through, though, out of turn 2, going down this back straightaway, now into turns 3 and 4. It wasn't really a bad lap. I got on the inside pretty well in the corners. It felt relatively good. As we come through out of turn 4, a little bit of oversteer there on the exit of the corner. We come through to the line, not beating our goal, about a half a second off, and we qualify P19 here for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. So not the qualifying effort we were looking for there, as you see the rest of the order. So Brad Keselowski there in 20th, the rookie of Zane Smith just outside the top 20, our teammate Bowman down there in the mid-20s, along with Bubba Wallace down there towards the bottom part of the 20s. Now, as we come through to check out who is going to be on pole here today in Texas, Elliott in the top 10, but it's Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric on the front row here for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. Alright, boys, the last 2 races haven't really been what we were looking for, but 2 non-top 10s in a row, so hopefully we can bounce back today and change that and get back inside the top 10, maybe even go for a win. There you heard myself on the radio to the team. 2 races in a row without a top 10. I mean, it's usually not something that happens to us here, but hopefully we can turn that around here today. Now, as you see, Logano, just the stories of the race letting us know we need to stay away from him, but Noah Gragson going to the back after changing an engine after qualifying. Brad Keselowski as well to the back after giving up qualifying position for a brand new set of Goodyear tires as we get ready to go green here on this inside lane here behind the number 10 of Matt DiBenedetto. Now, as it is Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric leading the way for the start of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 here at Texas Motor Speedway as we get underway side by side with the McLaren rookie of Zane Smith and his McLaren teammate Eric Jones just in front of him. McLaren has had definitely an up and down season to say the least here in the career mode so far. As we come through the center of 1 and 2, they have had some really good appearances at some tracks with Eric Jones running well. Then they have had some races where Zane Smith runs well, but then they've also had some races where they just run like garbage, and it looks like already that's going to be the case for them here today now as we go down into turn 3 and 4. Denny Hamlin already has taken the lead from Tyler Reddick. Cindric not even up there going for the lead right now as we come through to complete the first and opening lap. Texas Motor Speedway, always a very long race here, so definitely a lot of time to just take our time. We don't need to be overly aggressive now. As you see a little bit up in front of us, Daniel Suarez, who just picked up his first career win in the career mode in the Cup Series, I should say, here in the past episode now as we go down into turn 3. What a good race it was in Homestead, Miami. Now, as we come to Texas, Miami, probably one of the best tracks of the mile and a half, and then you come to Texas and it is probably the worst track of the mile and a half and one of the worst tracks on the NASCAR schedule ever since they repaved and redesigned this racetrack. Now, as we come through out of turn 2, though, getting up the inside of DiBenedetto, we now pass Daniel Suarez, so we move already up into P11 after starting P19, and we're going to take 10th place away from Harrison Burton in that number 95 here, as a lot of questions kind of surrounding Harrison Burton. Will he replace Martin Truex Jr. in the career mode next season? I believe it's going to happen now as we go down into turn 1, up the inside now of Austin Dillon, so already up into P9, but Eric Almirola in the 43, he's going to get up my inside there. Now we're 3 wide between Austin Dillon and Almirola, but look at the 43, he flies right on by both of us and clears us as we go back down into turn 3, though we would clear Austin Dillon, but we came through now to lap 5 in stage 1 out of turn 2. Now Martin Truex Jr. had run me down, he got up my inside. I had absolutely nothing for Truex, he was flying as well, just like Almirola was, as now Austin Cindric found himself out front, and we were definitely a little bit off the pace though, because we come through now on lap 6. Matt DiBenedetto in the number 10 car for Stewart Haas Racing, he had run me down through the center of 1 and 2, and sure enough on the exit of the corner, he's going to be able to get by on my outside. Ryan Blaney, Cole Custer, they were just behind me trying to get up into the mix as well here. So we come through on lap 8 following DiBenedetto, and actually we would kind of pull away from the cars behind us, but get up into the mix now with the 42 of Chastain as well as the 8 of Tyler Reddick. And I really think Tyler Reddick is having a bit of a breakout season here. He picked up his first career win, and he's just been running relatively solid now as we come through out of turn 4, now up inside the top 10 after passing the 42 and the 8 car. But then our teammate of Alex Bowman, he gets to the back of me now as we get a look off the back bumper as we go down into turn 1, and sure enough, Bowman up the inside there in that number 48 Ally car. I just saw the paint scheme he will be running in real life for 2021, and I definitely am going to try to get that made to put in the career mode here at some point soon. Now as we get right up to the back of him, but he passes us for 10th, so now down into P11, but there's a lot of drivers that started relatively towards the bottom part of the field that are really moving their way forwards as the caution actually comes out for the first time here today at Texas Motor Speedway, and it creates a very split strategy amongst the field here. A bunch of drivers coming into the pit lane, but a bunch of drivers as well staying out. It kind of looks like a half and half strategy. I decided we're going to be on the strategy that comes into the pit lane here, so we're going to come in and put 2 cans of fuel in the car, 4 fresh tires. I decided to loosen it up a little bit because I knew the run to the end of the stage was going to be pretty short, and it still felt maybe just a little bit too tight at times, but I know in the long run it starts to free up. So, but like I said, we have a short run here to the end of stage 1, so there's no reason to not really loosen up the car now as we get back underway here behind the 88 of William Byron. Surprisingly, with how much speed that 88 car for Earnhardt Johnson Racing has had, they have yet to finish in the top 10 this season. Byron had a couple opportunities to be in the top 5, maybe even go for a win at a track like Las Vegas, but he's had some engine failures that have taken him out of the mix. But here he is today. He was showing speed. He is down here towards the mid part of the field now with myself because of the split strategy, but drivers like him and myself and many others around us here are going to move our way through the field hopefully very quickly now as we start to get spread out a little bit within the coming laps. Now as we're up the inside of Cindric, we have passed him easily following Byron. I get up the inside of Byron now, 3 wide with him and Timmy Hill, who's got some damage on that front bumper. I'm assuming he was a part of the last caution. Could not find what caused it. Now as we were actually 4 wide wide right here with the 37, the 47, and the 18. I went down through the bottom. Kyle Busch went around the top, and now I move up into 12th, and we come through now on the front straightaway on lap 16. We had passed a few more slow cars and moved up into the top 10, passing Austin Dillon for 9th, around to the outside of Eric Jones there in the number 02 McLaren car, and we pass him as well. So we get to the outside of Ross Chastain, and myself and Byron kind of felt really similar on pace here. We were both moving our way forwards. Now as we actually have a spinner behind though, Todd Gilliland, the rookie, goes crashing. Custer involved, I think the 47 as well. Now it was a big hit there, a violent crash for Todd Gilliland as a caution comes out again here in Texas Motor Speedway, and now everybody that stayed out is going to come into the pit lane, and all the drivers that came in under the last yellow will stay out. So now we will be P2 for the restart with myself and Kyle Busch on the front row, William Byron, Christopher Bell on row number 2 now as we are back underway, and it will be just 5 laps to go, but the car for some reason just does not launch very well on this restart. So now we are already behind the ball a little bit now as Kyle is already clear going down into turn 1, and you see up the inside the 88 of William Byron is going to try and go for maybe a stage win here as we come through out of turn 2. Blaney up my inside as well, a little bit nervous running around these Penske drivers. Not really sure how Keselowski and Blaney are going to feel about me, considering what's been going on between myself and Logano, especially with the kind of boiling point from last episode in Miami with the probation being handed out by NASCAR. Now as we exit turn 4, Chase Elliott, our teammate, up our inside as we come through to cross the line. Just a few laps to go here in this first and opening stage as we were kind of in this scrap right here with the 12 of Ryan Blaney. He was up my inside, but usually the other drivers can pass me no problem on the inside, but Blaney didn't have enough speed, but I also didn't have enough speed to get ahead of him on the outside. So we were kind of stuck here. We were actually forced 3 wide for a brief moment into turn 3 by Elliott, and Bowman now has come through the center of the corner. So now Bowman, he passes us for the 4th position. We drop down to P6. Cindric goes by on the inside, and I was just stuck here on the outside, losing position after position as we come through to just 2 laps to go. On the stage now 3 wide as Blaney went all the way to the top, and then on the inside we get the 20 of Christopher Bell here as we go down this back straightaway. Probably the first race this season that Bell has really showed up and run well now as we come to the center of 3 and 4 here now as we approach the final lap of the first stage as the 88 of William Byron leads the way. I mentioned how he's really had some good speed in that Earnhardt Johnson Racing number 88 Camaro there, sponsored by Exalta, but he just hasn't quite had the luck to go along with the speed, and then the last few races he's kind of struggled with the speed. But I cleared the 20 of Bell on the exit of turn 2, almost a bit of a slide job you could call it there as we go down the back straightaway into turn 3 for the final time here in stage 1 for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Out of turn 4, William Byron beats Kyle Busch for the stage victory as Byron still hunts that first career victory as we come through to cross the line here in the 6th position. So overall, considering where we were with speed there, I think 6 was a really nice stage finish for us now as you see Bubba Wallace rounds out the top 10 in that number 2311-23 car now as we have quite the field kind of shaking up this top 10 now as we all continue to have these roster changes and whatnot and these team upgrades. It really kind of shuffles up what a normal top 10 has been looking like here in the Cup Series. Honestly, I don't think we're a 6th place car, guys. We definitely need to work on the speed there, but I think the car drives all right, but we're honestly kind of lacking some speed, so hopefully we can improve that. There you hear myself on the radio now as we get ready to go back green here for the start of stage 2. You see Todd Gilliland is out of this race, of course, after that heavy crash for him now, as we came in P6 and we exit P6 here for the start of stage 2. And of course, for the start of the 2nd stage, which is now underway, we are going to go in to the AMP segment. All right, there you had the amp segment there. As you saw the restart, we're now down in the 8th position, so lost a few positions as William Byron continues to lead over 2nd place, which now belongs to the rookie of Austin Cindric. Then 3rd place is Chase Elliott, our other teammate of Bowman, up there in the mix as well. So 2 Hendrick cars currently up inside the top 5 here as we go down into turn 1. Now on lap 4, Blaney decides to go to the top there, cut across my nose as Reddick's up my inside, so now we're going to be 3 wide in the middle between myself, Reddick, and Blaney as we go down this back straightaway. Bubba Wallace in the mix, Matt DiBenedetto, Hamlin, Truex all behind us here as we go down into turn 3. Now Bubba up my inside, but once again we're stuck on this outside lane, and it's just going to have the same effect that it did in stage 1, where we're just going to continue to lose positions. Hamlin would get by on the inside, then Eric Almirola would get by on my inside as well in the 43, then the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Well, he now comes into the mix as well as we go down the back straightaway, so he would get past us, Keselowski would pass us, but finally I'm able to get inside in front of the 10 of DiBenedetto, and immediately I took it 3 wide with Keselowski and Reddick, and I slide up into the corner, opening the door for DiBenedetto to get up my inside, and he clears us on the exit of turn 2 as we go down the back straightaway now, so running in that 12th position. And then I kind of fall off a little bit here as we came through to start lap 7 of the stage. Keselowski would actually be able to get up my inside as we go down into turn 1, as William Byron was continuing to lead the way here as we now drop down into that 13th position. And then we would continue though to just kind of rally our way forwards now as we get up the inside of the 23 of Bubba Wallace now on lap 9 of the second stage. And now things were slowly starting to kind of come into my advantage. I have a lot better of a long run car here at Texas Motor Speedway. It seems to work like that every time I come to this track now, and sure enough, it was starting to show as Austin Cindric was actually in the mix now for the lead. Cindric having a very strong rookie season. He's in like the top 5 overall in points right now, and it's only a matter of time till he picks up that first win, as he's having, like I said, a very strong rookie season. Now as it came through on lap 16, some trouble into turn 1 now, as Alex Bowman, our teammate, has blown a right front tire by the looks of it, and that brings up the caution. Fortunately for Bowman, this is not the end of his race, but any chance for stage points has been wiped away now for him, as the bad luck for Bowman continues. He's had some showings of speed. He DNF'd a couple races in a row just recently, and now here he is blowing a right front tire, but fortunately he will not DNF for a 3rd time already this season here, as you see the order now, as we are all going to come into the pit lane to put 2 cans of fuel in the car, as well as the 4 fresh tires on it now, as we get ready to go back green here on the outside, side by side with Denny Hamlin from now the 8th position as we are back underway. So it was a very good kind of pit cycle for us as we find ourselves now inside the top 10. Behind us it's Truex and the number 23 of Bubba Wallace here as we go down into turn 1. Austin Cindric leads the way over Kyle Busch, as well as the 88 of William Byron. I'm right on the back there of the 10 of Matt DiBenedetto as we come through at turn 2. Logano, our rival, around us for the first time really today here, as he was able to get past us. Those go down into turn 3. I cut down in front of Blaney because I said there's no way I'm going to deal with Ryan Blaney up my inside again for the 3rd time here as we come through at turn 4. So now running in the 11th position behind Eric Almirola, who's working his way through the field, driving side by side with his former car from last season. The number 10 is he's actually going to pass his former race car as it goes down into turn 3 now on lap 20. Chase Elliott down there in P8 trying to hold on over Almirola, but Almirola really showing some speed here as he came through on lap 21. Now side by side with Matt DiBenedetto. I was trying to clear him, couldn't quite make it happen, so we fade in behind him in 11th, and then we would now run down Joey Logano, our rival, who had gotten passed by DiBenedetto. Now as we go down into turn 1, we clear Logano, but Logano actually gives us the bumper, moves us up the track out of the groove as I'm sliding all the way up as we come through out of turn 2. I nailed the outside wall there as we come through down the back straightaway all the way to the inside. Our chance of stage points wiped down with 2 laps to go as we go down into turn 3. It's moments like that that will not get Joey Logano suspended on this probation. He has to just straight up wreck us pretty much to get suspended, and honestly I thought he was going to try it right there as we come to start the final lap of the stage. Austin Cindric out in front, but honestly that was kind of after Logano got into me. It was really my fault for getting into the outside wall because I was trying my best to keep the speed going, and I just carried it too far up into the outside wall. Unfortunately, here's to go down the back straightaway for the final time here in stage 2 as we go down into turn 3 behind that number 23 of Bubba Wallace, as the caution actually comes out here before we get to the finish line, and Austin Cindric, the rookie, picks up the stage 2 victory here in Texas. So unfortunately down in P13 we had a good first stage with P6, but now we're down here in 13th as we are all once again going to come into the pit lane. We do have to make some small repairs to the right side of the car if we're going to get this thing in good condition to have a chance here in this 3rd and final stage, and hopefully we can stay away from Joey Logano here in this 3rd and final stage. It's so hard to just get rid of rivals in the career mode, but if you can stay away from them long enough without making contact, you can do it. We've done it before, and we will do it again here with that number 22 of Joey Logano. So we would come through into the start of the third and final stage, still P13 here after we came out of the pit lane now, as we are ready to go green right behind our teammate Chase Elliott now as the green flag is out. And we are underway for the start of the third and final stage here in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. 29 laps to go in Texas here as we go down into turn 1, trying to get up the inside of that number 23 car. Now as Austin Cindric leads the way, looking for his very first Cup Series career Cup Series win here as we come through down the back straight. We get into the back of the 9. I could have taken a 3 wide, but I didn't really see a need to kind of mess over our teammate of Chase as we go down into turn 3. Elliott had a bit of a rough season there now, as you saw the 22 actually come down into me there. Some contact between himself and I now as we go down this front straightaway, completing the first and opening lap here in the third and final stage, side by side with Logano into turn 1. A bit of a risk, but it seems to work into the corner now as Logano left a little bit of room on the start of the corner, but he gets right down on my door on the exit of turn 2. A little bit more contact between myself and Joey here as we go down the back straightaway, but like I said at the beginning of the video, things like this are not going to get either him or myself suspended here in the next race or anything. Now has come through the center of 3 and 4, doing my best to clear Logano to not have to worry about it, but he gets such a good run on the exit of turn 4 that he is going to be side by side with myself. We're going to be relatively even as we go down into turn 1. Some more contact with Logano. He pinches us down as much as he can there as we nearly take him out, but he hangs on now to P11 as we settle into P12, but I push up on the exit of the corner, leaving the door open for Christopher Bell, who would get by on my inside, and once again we were stuck on the outside lane here as the 48 of Bowman, who's worked his way back forwards after blowing that tire. He gets by us for 13th, then Bubba Wallace is going to go by on the inside as well, so now I fall down into P15 right behind that 2311 Toyota Camry now as Eric Almirola, as we came through to lap 61, had taken the lead here in Texas now as we were closing in on the back of our rival of Joey Logano, who had gotten passed by all of those cars that had also passed me here as we go down into turn 1. Logano goes high, I go low here as I'm trying my best to clear him through the center of the corner. We do clear Joey on the exit of turn 2, but I get into the outside wall now side by side with the 22 of Logano. Some contact again between himself and I as we go down into turn 3, but fortunately nothing really comes out of it now as I was kind of just stuck behind him after this point because he was defending the bottom, and if Logano was defending the bottom I couldn't do anything. Now as he came through into turn 3 on lap 63, Logano blows an engine into turns 3 and 4 and karma strikes. Oh my god, that's incredible. That was just straight up karma for the 22 of Joey Logano, who is just being a thorn in my side there for the whole start of the third and final stage. And now he finds himself on the pit lane as he came through on lap 66, going down into turn 1 with 19 laps to go here in Texas. But we lost so much time slowing up for the 22. You can see how far behind I am now as Bubba Wallace runs behind us as a caution is out again here in Texas. And it's actually for Eric Almirola blowing a tire, who was going for the lead earlier, and he is now actually going to be out here in Texas. It is the end of his race. He has DNF now, and what is extremely surprising is Logano went only 1 lap down and actually gets the lucky dog, so it appears he rejoined the track after blowing an engine, so his team was able to flip up the hood and fix the engine real quick. So I decided, though, to come in for 1 can of fuel, put some right side tires on the car. But Joey Logano, after blowing the engine, is going to find himself on the lead lap for this restart now at the very back of the pack. Unfortunately, we gained that 1 spot due to Almirola being out of the race, and we find ourselves on the outside once again as the green flag is out on lap 69. Nice as we come through to the start of lap 70, but definitely not the circumstances we were hoping for with being on the outside here, as it's certainly been quite the up and down race for us so far here at Texas Motor Speedway now, as we come through with just 15 laps to go in this race as we come through on the exit of turn 2 side by side with that 23 of Bubba Wallace. Now in front of us we got Christopher Bell side by side with Chase Briscoe. Bell, myself, we are both in our 3rd season of our Cup Series career. Briscoe here in his 2nd season of his Cup Series career. Briscoe's got 2 wins already in his career in the Cup Series. He's definitely one of the stronger rookies that we've seen come into the Cup Series here, and I think he's going to be able to be a nice playoff contender this season as well now as we come through the center of 1 and 2. But the field has been so much more competitive to start this season in the career mode. It's so hard to tell really what's going to happen, and if it stays like this into the playoffs, I honestly don't know what we're going to be facing in terms of competition now, as Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin find themselves in P1 and P2, and then I unfortunately was stuck on that outside again, so we dropped down to P16 behind Kevin Harvick, but I get in line behind him, start following him up the inside, get up the inside of the number 1 of Noah Gragson, and then try to get past his teammate as well of Ross Chastain, and sure enough we clear Gragson, and then into turn 1 we are also going to pass that 42 of Ross Chastain as we come through the center of 1 and 2, now up the inside of the 2014 Cup Series champion of Harvick as we go down the back straight away, and I would be able to stick up the inside of him, and sure enough into turn 1 now on lap 75 we are going to have the opportunity to clear Kevin Harvick for that 13th position as we slowly start to reel in the cars ahead of us, but there was only 10 laps to go at this point, and I was expecting a caution to come out, but it really did not seem like it was going to happen here as we came through now a handful of laps later on lap 79, continuing to reel in that number 23 of Bubba Wallace as we exit turn 4. I was looking behind me, I saw Logano was actually closing in on the back of myself here as we came through to just 2 laps to go in this race, though. Finally, a move on Bubba Wallace here into turn 3 as Logano had worked his way up into P14 as we cleared the 23 on the exit to turn 4, coming through to the final lap here in Texas Motor Speedway. Martin Truex Jr. leads the way into turn 1 and out of turn 2 in his final season. By the way, he just announced retirement from the career mode a few episodes ago, and here he is looking for his second win of his final season here as we go down the back straight away. The caution actually comes out and ends the race half a lap or so early, and Martin Truex Jr. gets his second win of the season and joins Kyle Busch as now the second multi-time winner this season here in the career mode. So a nice win for Truex now, as he would of course love to go out a champion, and we've seen a history of drivers going into their final seasons of the career mode and have a chance to go at the championship. Jimmy Johnson went out an 8-time Cup Series champion in the career mode. As you guys know, he holds the record for Cup Series championships now. Kurt Busch made the final 4 in his last season, DNF'd along with myself unfortunately, and now Truex here in his final season is trying to do the same thing, except he does not want to DNF like Kurt Busch did. But there you saw the finishing order. We are down in P3 in points. We were leading the points a few races ago, but look at Austin Cindric, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, a lot of nice fresh names to see up inside the top 10 in the points, all due to the mods allowing me to just kind of add improvements to those drivers here and there as the seasons progress and whatnot. But now we will check out the playoff grid for all 3 standings here of the Trucks Xfinity Series as well as a Cup Series. As always, though, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. Let me know kind of what you thought, what happened between myself and Joey in that race. It was definitely funny to see him blow that engine there after he was trying to mess us up for I don't know how long there. So it kind of worked out in our favor, but he almost ran us down at the finish of that race, which would have really been interesting now if he caught us maybe by the final lap or 2. But there you see the playoff grid here for the Cup Series. Truex and Kyle Busch 1-2, Logano, Reddick, Daniel Suarez in the 99 car all up there with the victories. And then at the very bottom, here you see Hamlin up in P13, but Bubba Wallace, the last car in, Zane Smith, the first car out, Bell, Keselowski, Blaney, Harvick all on the outside looking in. But just before we end this episode, I want to say thank you to the Go On Racing members of MJ, Aiden, Tony, Dylan, Joseph, RJ, Timothy, Bubba Jr., Mr. Johnson, as well as NASCAR on Dogs. You guys help me out a lot, as I say every episode, and I want to say thank you to everybody else as well for taking the time out of their day to watch this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one for Bristol Motor Speedway, a track where we've always had good history at, so hopefully we can get back into the top 10 there at least and maybe go for a win. So thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a great day, everybody.